Okay, I posted some videos on how to catch crappies. Tonight I'll show you how to cook crappies. I've got a cast iron skillet here. Wish everybody had one. What makes this thing so nice is that once the heat gets built up in it, you don't have to wait for it to reheat. You can just immediately go ahead and cook another batch of fish. So I'm going to turn this on to about medium high. Let it heat up. I probably won't cook on medium high, but I'll heat the pan up that way and see what happens. Looks like we got about a ½ inch of oil left in the pan. Past few nights my granddaughter has used this skillet to cook some biscuit donuts. I'll post a video on how quick and easy that is. But anyhow, we'll go ahead and start preheating this pan, and I'll show you how to test to see if it's ready to cook some fish. Meanwhile, I'm going to get some fish out of the refrigerator that I cleaned today. I cleaned about 40 or 50 crappies today, and I put them in these small quart-sized bags. They're fillets. There's no bones in these things, and so tonight it's just me and my daughter eating. This is probably ½ pound, maybe 3/4 of a pound. I don't know. Maybe a pound. Anyhow, it's just enough for 2 of us, and we're going to cook these tonight. I'll show you how to do it. The first step to cooking crappie fillets southern style is to create an egg wash. Wow, this looks like an Easter basket. Got green eggs, blue eggs, brown eggs, white eggs. Apparently my daughter was given some eggs by one of her clients. She's a nurse. She helps old folks and stuff like that. But anyhow, it doesn't matter. Just take an egg or 2. You want a shallow container, and I'm going to break these eggs and mix them up in here. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Everybody's got their own technique for breaking an egg. I prefer to just take a paper towel or something like that and put it across the countertop. That way, if the stuff leaks, I don't have to clean that up later. Woohoo! See what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Throw that away. Got me a couple of eggs in this shallow container. This is from a Chinese takeout. What we want to do is take a fork or any kind of tool, mix it up a little bit. This is your typical egg wash. Now, if you want a I don't know, a soft breading, I'd add a little bit of milk to this. If you want a medium breading, I'd add a little bit of water to it. If you want a stiff breading like you'd find at Captain D's or someplace like that, add a little beer to it. I think tonight we're going to go for a medium breader. So I'm going to add some water. Not much. I've got 2 eggs in this thing, and I'm probably adding not more than 2 ounces of water to it. Stir that up. This is just the wash we're going to use to get the fillets ready to coat. Like I said, you can use milk, water, beer, soda water. Depends on how crispy you want your fish to come out. We've already got the wash made up with a couple of eggs and some water. And like I said before, you can mix that up any way you want with milk or soda water or beer. Depends on how crispy you want it. Anyhow, this is 2 eggs with an ounce or 2 of water stirred up. And now we're going to make our breading. I've got some flour, some chicken breader, and some medium hot breader. If you prefer fish that taste like they came from the saltwater ocean instead of chicken breader, you can just buy some seafood breader. Around here in Carolina we use House Autry, but depending on where you live, you know, get your local brand of seafood breader. It doesn't matter. I don't have any seafood breader, so tonight we're going to have crappies made with chicken breader. Works just fine. This is self-rising flour. That's all we have left. All-purpose flour works just fine, maybe even better. We're going to take equal parts of the flour, the chicken breader, and the medium hot breader, and put it into a container that we can shake. Whoa, hold on, that's heavier than I thought. Let me get something to scoop that out and we'll do this again. I thought I could handle the camera and do this all at the same time, but I can't. Anyhow, a couple of scoops of flour, a couple of scoops of chicken breader or seafood breader, hope you can see this. I got this camera on my hat. Not sure I'm pointing it in the right direction. But anyhow, equal parts of the flour, your seafood or chicken breader, and depending on your taste, either 1 part or 2 parts of some spicy breader. Around here we kind of like it spicy. Tonight I'm using a 1 gallon size Ziploc bag for my breading mixture, just to show you what it looks like, shaking it up. If I wasn't filming this, I'd probably use a paper bag, simply because I think the bag absorbs some of the moisture after you put it into the egg wash, and it seems to coat it a little better. But anyhow, tonight we're going to do it this way. Alright, we're going to go check the oil, see if it's ready. Alright, we've had this oil cooking on almost medium high for 5 or 10 minutes. Let's see if it's ready. Come over to your sink, get a little bit of water on your finger and flick it in. Holy smokes, that's too hot. Turn this baby down. If you're using a cast iron pot, I strongly suggest you get a pot holder to move that thing. We're going to take this and move it off the burner just for a minute and let it cool down a little bit. We do when we put the flicking water into it, we do want it to sizzle but not explode like that. So that oil is too hot right now. While the cooking oil is cooling down just a little bit, we'll go ahead and get these crappie fillets going. Just throw them into the wash. Don't want to do too many at one time. I don't know how big my frying pan is, but that looks like about as many as it will handle. I'll probably get the tongs just so it looks more professional. Here we go. We're professional now. Normally I just use my fingers. But open up your paper bag or your Ziploc bag after you've soaked the fillets for not very long, just enough to get them wet. The whole purpose here is to make them sticky enough to where the breading mixture will hold on it. Try to leave a little bit of air in there. That makes it easier to shake it up. Look at them and make sure they're adequately coated, and they seem to be. Take one out and show you. That looks pretty good right there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put this frying pan back on the fire. Gotta find my pot holder. I'm telling you, if you use a cast iron pan, you better have a pot holder. Because even though you've turned the heat off on this thing, that baby is going to be hot. Alright, let's test this again. Get just a little bit of water on my finger. Coming over here and dropping it in. Do you hear that sizzle? That's about perfect. Right now I've got my heat on medium. And I think it's time to start cooking. Grab a fish fillet, put it in, make sure it's bubbling around there. That means it's frying up at the right temperature. If I was a chef, I could tell you what temperature to measure your oil, but I don't know anything about that stuff. I just know that if the water explodes, it's too hot. If it don't sizzle, it's too cold. Are you getting dizzy watching me reach into the bag and go over to the frying pan? I am. I think there's one more in here somewhere. There it is. Okay, you don't want to overload your frying pan. Always want to have a single level. I'm going to turn this camera off for a minute, and I'll turn it back on when it's time to flip them, which won't be long. Fish has been frying for probably 2 or 3 minutes, not very long, but they're very thin fillets. When you start seeing the edges get crispy, might be Might be time to turn them. Oh yeah. Look at that. It doesn't matter if some of them are kinked up. In my opinion, that just means that some will get done properly and some might not. Let them fry on the other side for a couple of minutes, and we'll see what they look like when they're done. Guessing that we have had these fish in here for a total of 5 minutes. They're frying good, but I'm going to turn it up just a hair. Got a paper plate with some paper towels on top of it. Do not want to overcook these things. Look at that. You know, when you fillet these fish, they look so small, but yet when you bread them, you're going to end up with more than you thought. Oh boy. That's just one batch. Look at that. Now you can salt and pepper them or put whatever seasoning you want to on them. Nice thing about a cast iron pan is it's ready for the next batch. You see the mess I've made? If you have a picky wife or a picky daughter, you might want to wait till she's out on a date or something before you cook fish. Because Lord knows I cannot cook fish without creating a mess. Same thing with frying chicken for me. Is that it? Oh no, there's another one in there. Does that not look beautiful? Cooking up like that. Come on down south. This will warm your heart. We're flipping over the second batch. And it looks like we got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fillets in here. As I said earlier, you don't want to overload your pan. So that's a total of 12 fillets I cooked for 2 of us. That's 6 fish. If you got a family of 4 and you're catching crappies, you're going to need a dozen of them if you live in Carolina. Don't think you can come home with 5 or 6 fish and feed your family. Not if you're going to fillet them. This is how we do it here. Look at that. Perfectly golden brown. Fried crappie fillets. Some of the best tasting fish you'll ever try. You don't want to stack them up too high on one plate. You want to let that grease drain off. If you're fancy, you can just put them into a colander and let the grease drip off into a catch pan. But we got paper plates, paper towels, a little salt and pepper. This is the American way. We're going to fancy this up in just a minute with some salted butter, lemon juice, and a container that I don't know what came in. Looks like mandarin oranges or Jello or something. But anyhow, we save these things for situations just like this. I'll show you what we're going to do. Hey, I'm not a chef. I'm just a guy who catches fish and likes to clean them. We're going to take some real butter here. I guess you could use fake butter if you wanted to. Try to get the paper off better than I did just then. You don't need the butter. I mean, you don't need the paper. Just need the butter. Chop it up. Throw it in a small container. Some garlic salt. I don't know how much that is. Doesn't matter. Some lemon juice. Oh boy, this is starting to seem pretty fancy already. Throw this in the microwave. I don't know. You just have to watch it. Maybe 15-20 seconds. You don't want the butter to separate. That's been about 15 seconds. We'll look at it. Starting to melt. I think it's hot enough. We don't have to cook that anymore. Even though there's some lumps in there. Shake it around or stir it. That will eventually melt. Pour it over your fish. Oh my. That plus this. Some tater salad, coleslaw, maybe some pork and beans, sweet tea. Oh my. Who could ask for anything more? So this is how we do it in Carolina. Go out and catch you some crappies. If you watch my YouTube channel, you'll see how to do that. Fillet them, no bones. If you watch my YouTube channel, you'll see how to do that. And now we showed you how to cook them. I'm not going to embarrass myself by showing you how to eat them, but trust me, that's going to happen next.